Today we're installing two Hikvision colour view cameras for a customer close by to our shop, but I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity for me to run through some of the tools and tricks that we use when installing our camera systems. Let's get started. First tool out the van is the ferret. Now the ferret's used for seeing into tight spaces that you can't quite get your eye into. Let me get it out of its case and I'll show you a little bit more in the loft. Now I'd be lying if I said I use the ferret tool on every single one of our installs. I don't. I tend to get it out when I'm in a bit of a sticky wicket and I need to see into a gap that I can't quite get my head into. I picked our ferret up from Amazon. It wasn't cheap. It's a great tool. I wouldn't say it's an absolute necessity when installing CCTV, but it's a really nice tool to have. The recorder on this install's going here, so we're going to cavity drill up the internal side of this garage into the loft where we've just seen with the ferret tool, and then it'll be cavity drilled out the back. So I'll just show you where the camera's going in a sec. Here is where the camera's coming back to. So it'll be cavity drilled from the loft all the way down to where we decide to position the camera, and the camera will be fixed there and the install will look completely wireless. The first main tool out of our van is usually our drill bag, and within our drill bag is our SDS. This is what helps us drill up into the cavities and reach into the loft using 12mm drill bits. We've got a 16mm drill bit for bigger cavity drills, and I recently picked up a 22mm drill bit. Now we use that when the customer doesn't want us to put a base on the wall and just we have to feed the connector into the wall, so we have got a 22 there as well. But some of the other tools that we've accumulated over the years, and if you're just starting out and fitting CCTV, these kind of the main three that you want to have. You want to have a good SDS, a decent combi drill, and then an impact driver as well, which will help you screw screws a lot faster than you will with a screwdriver. Other tools that we've accumulated though include our circular saw, which we use for cutting up flooring. We've got multi-tool, which again, plasterboard, cutting up flooring. It's a really great tool that. You can also use it for sanding. There's a lot more attachments on that. And a grinder. Now the grinder's got a diamond disc on at the moment because we've been chipping out a wall. As you can see, all of our tools are Milwaukee. Now there's lots of other brands available. Jack behind the camera has got, what have you got, Jack? You've got a Makita, yeah, but you've got a SDS, combi drill, impact driver, all from Makita. If you and your missus have got a shared Facebook account, you can go for DeWalt, but we went for Milwaukee. I've covered cavity drilling in a previous video that we did about how to install CCTV. That's definitely on there, yeah. So the only thing about these Milwaukee drills is the chuck is absolutely awful. Now we want to position our recorder somewhere around here. And we always want to try and cavity drill on a mortar line so that you can drag the drill down the mortar line and you're not too worried about damaging the face of a brick. You can always repair a mortar line if you need to. So we'll start by just getting up. Just get the drill in a little bit and then we can bring it down and drill straight up. Once you're confident that the drill's burst through, the next thing we're going to need out the van is rods. For years we've been using a brand called Super Rod, which makes our life so much easier when doing cavity drilling and trying to get cables into tight little spaces. Our rods are looking a little bit tired. They've been battered, they've had a pretty hard life, which is why it's great that Vanessa at Super Rod sent us brand spanking new set of super rods. Now this is the first time I've opened these. But not only did they send us a brand new set of super rods, they sent us a brand new set of the complete package of super rods. So you get all the accessories, which includes like magnet bits and hooks and little bits and pieces to help you find cables when you lose them in walls. Pretty much a full set of every single rod you'd ever need, including the glow-in-the-dark ones and the bendy ones, and also the finger trap cable pullers. So you usually tape cables to rods and pull them through walls, but you don't need to with one of these. You put the cable inside the cable trap, and then as you pull it tight, like a finger trap, it pulls tight around the cable. If you haven't heard of Super Rod before, I highly recommend going checking them out. They provide some great products, from cable drums, drilling, rods, all sorts of bits and pieces, and the ferret came from them as well. So thank you so much, Super Rod, for sending us a brand new set. Shout out to Vanessa. Let's get on with pulling this cable up the cavity into the loft. Pretty straight running it all the way up there. I reckon that's hitting the face of a brick. Oh, there we go. Twisted past now. Right, that's somewhere in the loft, that. Should we go and find it? Yes. Let's go and find it.
So Pete has drilled the hole for the camera that's going at the back and sent a rod through the cavity, which I am going to attach the rod and the cable that we pulled through before.
Right, that's brill, that Jack, that's all we need, thank you. Try to do this one I forgot how nice new rods are. Whew, that was easy. Can you unbox the recorder, take the case off it, and let's find its home, and then you can mount it to the wall for me. And there we are, on the home run. Right, we've got enough there. Let's get some clips out of the van and give that a bearing. Easy. You alright? Yeah. Right, we need to decide on. The next tool that we use is pretty much a day-to-day necessity for us, is a good marking tool. Now, I used to use the Marksman, which is like a powder marking tool. So you press it against an object and it fires powder out of the end and onto the object in which you want to mark. But the problem with it is, if there's a bit of a void behind the object, sometimes it can overspray outwards. So I've started using recently these that I got from Screwfix, which are tracers. So it comes as a set with a pen, which is pretty good, and a pencil. Now, the other downside to the Marksman is that the ends can clog, and if it runs out of gas before the powder runs out, then you tend to find that it feels like it's full, but it's not actually marking as it should. Whereas this is more expensive to buy, but if it lasts 3 times as long as a Marksman, then it's well worth keeping hold of, especially considering you can change the inks and the lead. Is it even still lead? You can change the bit in the end of the pencil. So I'm going to get on with mounting the recorder. Then we've just got the cameras to terminate at this side, the cameras put up outside, the internet to connect, which I'll come on to in a minute, and the install's pretty much done. Now, I could go over all the little bits and pieces that we use out of our tool bag, but that's boring, nobody really wants to see that. But the main things are a good set of crimps that we use for coax. These are just some cheap ones that I got from a local hardware store. A decent set of network crimps will go a long way. These are from Ideal Networks. I don't think they were cheap actually, but they do a really good job. Some good ends. We've had some bad experiences with some bad ends recently. Obviously old screwdrivers, punch down tools, hammers, all sorts of bits and pieces that we use. But the main thing I'm going to use for today is the coax stripping tool, the coax crimping tool, a set of snips just to terminate the coax ends. A good set of snips goes a long way as well. Right, so the recorder is about 95% of the way there, so we've got it all mounted, clipped as nicely as we possibly can. What do you think? Do you think it looks alright? I quite like it. We just need to fill the hole with silicone so that that's not going to, well, none of the insulation is going to fall out of the cavity. We've got the cable clipped all the way along behind the consumer unit, the trunking for the consumer unit, and all the way out to this camera that's going to go here, which is now my next job to get on with terminating that. What a beautiful day it is. And while I do that, Jack's getting on with doing the back camera. How you getting on, Jack?
Yeah, alright.
Good.
Oh, aye.
Right, now cut your base on. Yeah? I have a bit of a confession to make. Over the last couple of installs, when we've struggled to get a hardwired connection back to the recorder, I've been using the TP-Link plug-in extenders that I did slag off in a previous video. Now, it is impossible in some of these houses to get internet directly fed into the router, and if the customer wants CCTV and they want it on an app, they've got to have internet for that, and the only way to provide internet to them is using one of these. So I've picked one up from the supplier. I'll set it up so that it gives the internet recorder, which means we can join the cameras to the customer's app on their phone and they can do all the notifications and live view and things like that. But the last tool that I wanted to touch on is this. This is our CCTV, what would you even call it, Jack?
Camera tester.
Our camera everything. So I initially had a network tester from Ideal Networks, and unfortunately it got lost somewhere along the line. I think it got left on a job. I left it on a job and then it just never got found again. So I invested in the Securitest IP, which is specifically for CCTV engineers. So it'll do all sorts, this tester. It will allow us to configure cameras, we can configure networks on it, it's got Chrome built into it. It's a monitor as well, so if you want to use it as a monitor to set up our CCTV, we can. It's a bit of a one-stop shop really for us. I wish the network side of it was a little bit better at testing network cables. It does give you a report in terms of pass or fail. It just gives you a lot of information you don't really need. All I really want in my job is the ability to see how long a cable is, how close the break of a cable is if that's what the fault is, and if the cable itself has passed or failed. Right, Jack's going to finish setting up the recorder. I'll get this finished setting up. No, actually we'll swap. You set up that, I'll finish setting up the recorder, and then we'll get packed up and we're done. So there we have it. 1 and 2 cameras fully fitted with all the tools that we use to install camera systems. If you enjoyed that video, if you have, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help us to build this channel. A massive thank you to Vanessa at Super Rod for sending us a set of rods out for us to use on this install. One tool though that we haven't talked about, and that's our van. But I might have something coming up for that. Hit that subscribe button and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.